Hey, so if you're watching this, hopefully it is January 25th, 2013, which is our 6 month anniversary, however you would say that. And this is really weird because I'm in a stairwell because it's the only place that's quiet to record this and get it to you. But I knew I might not be able to talk to you much on the 25th, so I thought I would record a video and just some things I'd like to say and send that to you instead. So this is really uncomfortable. I'm giving it my best shot. Okay, and I have an outline, so I'm going to glance over here and look at it every little bit. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is 6 months ago, January 25th, it was your birthday, obviously, and you were late to my picnic, and I made this whole picnic for you, and then we did a bunch of great activities, and we had bubble blowing contests and chalk drawing and finger painting and just playing with bubbles. And then I asked you a pretty important question. At least it was important to me, and I think it is to you. I asked you if you would be my girlfriend. And after a lot of discussion and me showing me showing you your father's email, and then more discussion, and then you telling me no, and then you telling me you actually meant yes, even though you said no because you were just messing with me. We started dating, and I just thought I'd share a little bit about that day and what happened, or not really that day, but how I prepared for that day. Actually, getting the day off for your birthday kind of came by accident. I kind of had forgotten about your birthday, or that it was coming that week, and that it would be Wednesday, and I forgot to make sure it's that day. But when I got the day off, it actually worked out. So that's really cool. And then I guess it was Saturday or Sunday or Monday. No, I don't know. Either way, I think it was Monday. Monday, I was at the pool, and I was just looking at you, and I was thinking, man, I should really do something for her birthday. So I saw Emily Wayman was there, and Crystal, and Mikey, so I called a little meeting, and we all got together at the pool, and I was like, all right, guys, I need ideas. Things I can do for Gabby's birthday on Wednesday. We have the day off, and I want to do something great. And then I was already thinking, man, I should really ask her to be my girlfriend. Man, I just don't know how. Yeah, maybe this was Sunday. I'm thinking maybe it was Sunday. I don't know. Anyway, so I was thinking about that, but I was asking them for ideas just for your birthday to make it great, and they were throwing out all kinds of great ideas. And then Mikey, I believe it was Mikey, was like, "Are you gonna ask her to be your girlfriend?" Or maybe it was Emily. I'm not sure which. And I was like, man, I was really thinking about that. I don't know. It's really been something that I've been thinking about. So maybe I could. And we were talking about possible ideas of how I could work that out and work that into the day. And so we did. And Emily and Crystal and Mikey all had days off that week before us. So I sent them with a list of things they needed to get me to make your birthday happen. And I got so much stuff, like stuff I didn't even need and stuff I couldn't even use. But I got tons of great stuff. So I planned it, and then I put it all under my bed until Wednesday morning. I got it out and frantically put together everything, trying to make it all happen on time and figuring out how I would time everything and writing all the little note cards out. Just making sure everything was going to run right. Then you were late, and I had actually plenty of time, and I was rushing for no reason, but it was really good. And our relationship since then has been such a blessing. It's so incredible. You don't even know how good it is. When I talk to people about it, it's just no one ever hears that long distance is good, but when I talk about it, you're just great. You are so good, and I love being your boyfriend. It's just so, it's fun, and it's good, and above all, Christ has preeminence most of the time. And if he doesn't have preeminence, that we want him to have preeminence, which plays a huge role, I think. And that just means a lot to me. And I know it's hard. It's one of the hardest things anyone could ever do, but it is good and it is full of hurt and hardness and pain. But it is so good. And those things aren't wasted, they're invested. And we can see that, even now a little bit, just like, just how much more little things mean and how much more we get to know each other doing long distance and how much more we pursue each other's hearts. And getting to know each other that way is just incredible. And a lot of people don't get that, and they won't have that until later on in the relationship. But another thing, I was reading some stuff for school, and it was talking about doing hard things and how doing hard things when you're young, when it's critical to do hard things, is always an investment in your character and the pattern of life you will live in the future. And that just was, I don't know, it was super encouraging to read, just because I'm like, man, there's something in my life that I am doing hard things. I'm doing something that is hard, and that this is the right time to be doing it. And and it's really exciting because that sets a precedent for our relationship in the future and everything we have together, even just my life in general if you're not in it, and your life in general if I'm not in it. And that is just so cool. Like, people just don't get that every day. And man, I don't know how to express to you just how much I care for you and how much I'm only about you as far as girls go. Like, like there are other people in my life, and I have Jesus, and I love those things and those people. But like, as far as like girls go, and someone I want to spend the rest of my life with, I only want you. And it's weird to say this knowing you're not listening to it now, but you'll listen to it later. But I just need you to know that. And I wouldn't give up on this unless God like legitimately took it away. And I think that's I think that's where God's led me, and I think that is the right thing to say. And another thing, just like what's been on my heart is just like Christ having preeminence in everything, and that continuing to be more and more in our relationship, because it's, we're not perfect. Like, my desire is that Christ be preeminent in our relationship. I know that's your desire too, and I know we work hard at that, but I'm just excited to see like how much more that happens, and how much more, like, as it becomes natural in our personal lives, like how much more that fleshes out in our relationship too. But all that to say, just all of these 6 months have been incredible, and I don't know what I'm going to do for all the months after this to express to you how great they will be, but I'm sure we'll find a way. But I don't think I've ever grown so much in 6 months, not even through camp. Like, this is just incredible. It stretches me, it grows me, and love is so good. Like, it is, and it just shows me Jesus so much, and that is worth more than any physical thing, in any physical relationship, any physical thing, anything that's not spiritual. Like, knowing Christ better is worth way more than any of that. I don't even know what to say. Like, I could talk forever, but it's weird when you're not actually in front of me, so I don't really know what else to say. I'll get to more stuff later. But for next thing I want to talk about, today we talked about did I trick you in, or did I use some type of strategy into getting you to like me, or getting you to date me of some sort? And the truth is, no, not even a little. If I had probably if I had tried, you probably would have not liked me at all. Um, and truly, I know in my heart that the day I started liking you was the day I've always told you. Is when God put it in my heart, and that's when it was really real. Is when God just like reached down in there and put it in my heart, and that's really cool. But I will say this: you just got to know me and be my friend in a very interesting time in life, in a very interesting situation. Like I didn't like you. I thought you were gorgeous, and I thought you were fun. But like my heart was like reeling from Natalie. Like I was in a very hard place, and I really didn't even see any girls at all in my mind because I just loved Natalie. So it was hard to even like begin a relationship and see you that way. I just didn't see you that way. At the same time, you just got to know me in a time when I was just like completely being myself, because I didn't really have many inhibitions about what you thought of me, because you were already my friend, and that was cool, like really truly my friend. And so like I know that played a big role in all of that. Also, I don't know, you just really got to see me and who I was. And if it seemed like I was showing off, trying to get you to like me, I was. I wanted you to be my friend, and I wanted you to like me. But I was showing you who I was. Maybe even sometimes a little bit exaggerated, but I don't know, I'm a pretty exaggerated person. And like I spent a lot of time with Natalie where I just wasn't myself. And so you just got to be a part of a time in my life when I was really just getting back to who I was and just enjoying God and myself and people. So you got to be a part of a really interesting time. And like I remember times doing things I knew that you would like, but those things were always true to myself, and doing things to kind of flirt with you a little bit, or doing things to pique your interest in me, but they were never like an act like I would use in high school to get girls to like me. Like nothing like that. It was all true things, and I wasn't using like wordplay. I think I may have shown you a lot of my intelligence that I don't really show most people, and you always talked about that, but a lot of times I was just trying to be myself for once in my life, and for once again in my life. So that was the truth about that. But I did always wonder if you would ever be an option in my life. I think like it was always like an itching thought in the back of my mind, because everyone was always talking about it. So it was definitely something that was in there, and my thought process, I remember, was always like, especially towards the end of the year, was like, she wants to write letters with me. Maybe like that would be such like a romantic story. Like we write letters, and then like something happens, and like we end up at the same place in life, and it just works out because we've been writing letters for who knows how long. So that was always in the back of my mind. I always thought that would be a cool story, and I was always kind of interested in that happening, but never really pushing towards it, never really looking into it. But then, the time came when you started being weird, and I started picking up on it, and I was like, why is she being weird all the time? I don't get it. And then Johan was just like, you should talk to her. So like I prayed that night, and was like, I know I've told you this, but I'm just going to tell you again. Like I prayed, like, God, Gabby's an amazing girl, and I never want to lose her friendship. So if you ever have anything changing between us ever, like just make it really clear on both ends, because I don't want to lose your friendship, her friendship. And then just the next day when I saw you, it was just like slapped, like my heart just started racing. Like I just liked you. And it was, whether it was always there or it wasn't, like it was clear to me, and I knew God had a big part of it. So that's just like really a cool story, like God having a part of me liking you, and showing me that I liked you and leading in my heart, and just like, dang, that's so cool. So that's that. I never used any elaborate schemes to get you to like me, whether you thought so or not. I definitely didn't. because it wasn't really my focus. But I'm definitely glad it all worked out. And if you had amnesia, I would definitely be using elaborate schemes and taking you on dates and impressing you and trying to get you to like me. That definitely would happen. But just so you know, that's what I would do if you got amnesia. Okay, one of the last things I want to talk to you about that I have on my outline here is kind of crazy. What time is it? Okay, there's people in the hallway now in the stairwell, so we're going to let them get inside a door because they're loud. And I don't even know if you can hear me right now as part of the video, but I'm talking. So they're almost gone. Yep, they're gone. Okay. So this is just like a really challenging part, and I wrote it down in my outline to talk to you. I wrote it number 1, just like something that had been like festering in my heart and something I wanted to talk to you about. But then right after I wrote that down, Josiah called me, and we talked about everything. Talked about Emily. We talked about everything, and just like he's really in a difficult place in life, but he is totally following God, and I see that, and that is so cool. But he really challenged me when he started asking me about you, about something. He asked this question. He said, are you guys looking at the, like I said, told him it was like basically the next 3 years. He's like, are you guys looking at doing long distance, just dating for 3 years, or looking at long distance with an engagement for a long time? And my immediate thought was, like, no, like no one really wants a long engagement. He said, he's like, yeah, and I understand that. And the reason it's good not to have long engagements is because the temptations are so much higher among couples who spend lots of time together while they're engaged. But, we're doing long distance, so there isn't, a lot of that. So it's not really that big of a temptation because you're not here. So I can't even worry about that really. But he said this, he said, coming from experience, it is really hard to do long distance without commitment. And then I was just like, but the commitment's there. The commitment is there. Like, I want to marry you, and I know that. And I know you have said those things to me, and those are things that we are. And then like we were just talking about how, my mind was thinking about just like how relationships shouldn't exceed, what they are. Like a friend should never be a boyfriend and not be a boyfriend, and a boyfriend should never be a fiance. You don't get engaged to a boyfriend, you're engaged to a fiance. Like that, the relationship changes, and I was wondering, and I was just thinking about like the commitment level that we're at, and just thinking how that might possibly exceed what was purposed for a dating relationship. And if it's not, which I don't think we're ready to be engaged, but what does that look like in 3 years? Like we have 3 years of long distance, and in the first 6 months, I'm sure that I want to marry you. Like, what does that look like? What does it look like waiting 3 months to be engaged, 3 years to be engaged, and then just getting married after that, having a short engagement, or what does that engagement period look like? And like, I don't know, like it just started challenging my heart that I can see where God had been planting a little seed in my mind to think about it beforehand. And then Josiah just like asked me kind of like an off the wall question that didn't really fit in the conversation. It just pierced me like right in the heart and just got right to something that I'd been thinking about, but I've been in the back of my mind kind of turning, and I hadn't really thought about it. It's just an interesting thought and just an interesting thing. And it goes along with this thought. Almost every time I'm on the phone with you and I say goodnight, like the words I love you are like right here on the tip of my tongue, and I'm about to say it just completely naturally. I'm just about to be like, good night, I love you. and like right there on the tip of my tongue, and then I don't want to say it. And the reason being that I don't want to say it is because love, I do love you, and I think you know that, because I love Mikey, and I love Mike, I love Emily Wayman, and I can say those things. But when you're talking between like a dating relationship, like using the word love means so many different things in English, and it's such a broad term that can be really misinterpreted. And I know lots of people advise you not to say I love you until you're ready to get engaged. Until you're ready to put a ring on her finger, like you don't say I love you, because I love you is a commitment. When it's talking to this significant other in this dating relationship. And like I really see the wisdom in that. But at the same time, my heart is right there. Is right there. Like how can my heart and my commitment be right there, and God's timing not be right there? And I know that God's timing is not right there. But I guess in my mind it always looked like, all right, we're going to do 3 years of long distance, engagement, then marry. All of these things would happen after IDP. But then just like Josiah challenging me with like not having a relationship that exceeds its bounds. And that doesn't mean you change how the relationship is. It means your relationship changes with the commitment level. And I don't know, that's something I'm challenged to start seeking advice on, like godly advice from my father, and just start talking with my father and talking to other godly men, and praying about, hardcore praying about, because I never even once considered the idea that I would get engaged to you until after IDP. Like I assumed that's what I was going to do, because that's just what it looked like. But now, like I'm thinking like, that's something I need to be praying about. And the reason I'm telling you this, because I wasn't going to, the reason I'm telling you this right now is because I want to challenge you to start praying about it now. Maybe not even talk to anyone just yet, but just spend some time talking with God about it. And like, God, give me your vision, give me your sight. Like, what do you see? What is your heartbeat on this? And just start seeking God's attention, because that's what I'm going to be doing. And pray for me to seek for God's attention, God's focus on this. Ultimately, like, it is my responsibility to ask you, and I know that, but you're definitely a huge part of that decision. So I just want you to start praying about, all these things I'm saying, like God's timing, and what does it actually look like? Because it may not look like 3 years from now we get engaged. It may look like sooner than that, maybe. Who knows? But just something I really beg you to pray for. And I don't know how any of that all fits in, because I feel like even if I ask you in 5 years, like your father's going to flip out if I ask him in 5 years from now. But God changes the heart of man. He changes the heart of the kings. So that's God. Like, God can change hearts, and He's doing exactly what He needs to do. But like something God just convicted my heart about and challenged my heart about is praying about God's timing and engagement. So that's something I'm going to be praying, and it all came from like this idea that, like, in the back of my head, I want to say I love you to you every time I say goodnight. And I know what that I love you means, and I love you means commitment in a dating relationship. It means I am committed to you, but I don't think that's fair to tell you that, at least not on a regular basis like that, without having that commitment level, like the social commitment level of a ring, or a betrothment of some sort, because I don't know. I mean, just like this summer when we were friends, but we were basically boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, it wasn't a huge step to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and I'm wondering, at what point is it not a huge step to be engaged? Like, at what point have we already engaged ourselves to each other in our hearts, but haven't made that social step, and what does that look like? And just like, that's a very rough thought, a rough draft thought. Like, don't start freaking out or anything. But just something to be praying about, and you can definitely talk to me about this stuff after you watch this video. But I just want you to know that I do love you. I love you as a friend, and I love you as a girlfriend. Um, but I'm wary about saying that right now. So just so you know. Yeah. But I just care a lot about you, and I definitely want to marry you, and that's scary because, man makes his own plans, but God has a different plan, and I just want, if it's not God's will, I truly don't want it, and that's hard to say to you because I want you so much, but to say to you, if you're not God's will, I don't want you, because I do want you, but that's the truth. I want, in my will, maybe not always in my desire, but I want my will. Only what God has for me, only what God wills and what God plans. And, I don't want to see this outside God's will, but I definitely want to be praying about it. So yeah, this video has gone 25 minutes now, so you'll be watching this for a long time. But just some thoughts from my heart for you and all that. So happy 6 months of dating. It has been crazy and growing and beautiful and wonderful, and I love, enjoy, adore having the opportunity to pursue you. You are beautiful and captivating, and I need that, and everyone needs that. I hope to spend many, 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 many more months with you as my girlfriend, or fiance, or wife, all of the above I would like. But I guess bye for now. Hope I get to talk to you today when you're watching this. Sorry about the background, it's really bright and gross, but it's the only place that has solitude. So hope you enjoy this. I miss you very, very much, and hope I get to talk to you some on our 6-month anniversary. Bye.